It's the AQA GCSE Maths Higher Tier Non-Calculator Paper 1 from November 2023. Let's get straight into it. Question 1. Work out the lowest common multiple, the LCM of 20 and 25. We're going to list out our times tables of 20 and 25 and find the smallest one that is in both of their lists. So 20, 40, 60, 80 and 100. 25, 50, 75 and I would stop at 100 because you can see it's the smallest one in both of them. Question 2. Work out the size of an exterior angle of a regular hexagon. The formula that we're using here is each exterior angle in any polygon is equal to 360 divided by n, and n is the number of sides. Because we've got a hexagon, this is 6 sides, so it's 360 divided by 6. 36 divided by 6 is 6, and we need 1 0, so it's 60. Question 3. A is 2, 0, and B is 0, negative 4. Work out the midpoint of AB. We're going to find the mean of both of our x coordinates, and we're going to find the mean of the y coordinates. So 2 add 0 divided by 2. 2 add 0 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the x coordinate, the middle of that will be 1. For the y's, we've got 0 plus negative 4 divided by 2. 0 take away 4, which is negative 4, and negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So 1, negative 2. Question 4. Simplify a plus 3a divided by a. We need to use bin mass here, so we need to do the dividing bit first. We've got 3a divided by a. The a's will just cancel, which just leaves me with 3. So I've got a plus 3. That can't be simplified, so I just leave it as it is. Question 5. Work out the value of 8 squared times 8 divided by 8 to the 9 divided by 8 to the 5. Give your answer as a decimal. Let's just combine these together first. We're multiplying and we have the same base, so we just need to add the powers. 8 to the power of 2 times by 8 to the power of 1. We need to do 2 add 1, which gives me 8 to the power of 3. And for this one, because we're dividing, we take away the powers. 9 take away 5 is 4. So that becomes 8 to the power of 4. Still we're dividing, so we're going to do 3 take away 4, which leaves us with 8 to the negative 1. Because I've got a negative, that tells me that I need to find the reciprocal. I need to flip it. So it's going to become 1 over 8, but it wants it as a decimal. So if you know 1/4 is 0.25, you can just half it to become 0.125, or you can just do 1 divided by 8. How many 8s go into 1? It doesn't. Carry the 1 over. 8s into 10 is 1. Carry 2 over. 8s into 20 is 2. Carry 4 over. 8s into 40 is 5. 0.125. Question 6. A music company releases 10 albums. The scatter graph shows for each album the number of downloads on the first day and the number of CDs sold on the first day. A line of best fit has been drawn. The scatter graph shows positive correlation. Describe the relationship between number of downloads and number of CDs sold. So we can see as one is increasing, the other one is increasing, so they have a direct proportional relationship. We can say as number of downloads increase, the number of CDs sold also increase. Part B. Company earns £2.50 for each download and £3 for each CD sold. The company releases another album. On the first day, it has 9,000 downloads. Estimate the total amount the company earns from downloads and CDs of the album that day. So we're trying to find out the amount that the company will be earning for an album that has 9,000 downloads. So let's work out the total that they're going to earn from the downloads first, because we already have the number for that. So for the downloads, we know that there's 9,000 altogether. We're multiplying that by £2.50. Instead of multiplying by £2.50, I'm going to times by 10 and divide it by 4, because that's the same as times it by £2.50. So we've got 9,000. 9,000 times by 10 is 90,000. And if I divide that by 4, that's the same as halving it twice. Half of 90,000 is 45,000. And half of 45,000 is 22,500. So that divided by 4 is 22,500. That's the downloads done. Let's do the CDs now. So we know each CD costs £3, but we don't know how many CDs have sold. So we're going to have to use this information and the table to help us with that. So it tells us that 9,000 downloads of that album have happened on that first day. So we'll draw a line going up from 9,000. Then we'll draw a line across from there. And that would be at 5,400, because each gap is worth 200. There's 5 gaps between them. So 5,400 CDs sold. So 3 multiplied by 5,400. I know 3 times 5,000 is 15,000. 3 times by 400 is 1,200. So altogether, that's going to be 16,200. Just need to add up both of these numbers together. 22,500 plus 16,200. So that'll be 700 at the end. 22 add 16 is 38. So 38,700. Question 7. 70% of a number is 350. Let's just write that as a fact. Work out 120% of the number. We're trying to find 120%. So what number is nice that goes into both 70 and 120? I think 10 is always an easy option to go to. So we need to divide by 7 first to get to 10%, and then we're going to multiply it by 12. What's 350 divided by 7? 35 divided by 7 is 5, so it's going to be 50. And we're doing 50 multiplied by 12. 5 times 12 is 60, and we need one more 0 at the end. Question 8. In the diagrams, all lengths are in centimeters, and the two shapes have equal areas. We're trying to work out the ratio of k to m. So we have k here, we have m here. We're trying to find both of those values. Because it's telling us they have equal areas, let's work out what the area of this one would be. So area of a triangle is base times by height divided by 2. So we're doing 12 times by k, which is 12k, divided by 2, which is 6k. So the area of this one is 6k. For this shape, because it's a compound shape, I can see it's made out of two rectangles. So if I split it up here, the area of this rectangle, base times by height, would be 2k, and the area of this rectangle would be 3 times by m, which is 3m. And we've been told that they have equal areas. So we can say 6k is equal to 2k and 3m. Let's just move all of our k's to one side. So we're going to take away 2k from there and take away 2k from there. So that will become 4k is equal to 3m. Because we're trying to write it in the ratio k to m, the ratio of k to m, the easy way to do it is it's just the opposite of what you're expecting. So it's going to be 3 to 4. If you forget how to do that, you can substitute 1 in for either of these values. So I'm going to choose m is equal to 1. If I substitute 1 for that, I've got 4k is equal to 3 times by 1, which is 3. And solving to find k would be equal to 3/4. So now the ratio of k to m, k is 3/4 and m is 1. So to get rid of this fraction, I need to multiply both sides by 4. 3/4 times by 4 leaves me with 3, and 1 times by 4 leaves me with 4. So it's the same answer, but you don't have to show this. Question 9. Here is a graph of y equals 0.5x squared minus 6x plus 12. Use the graph to estimate the solutions of that equation. All we need to do here is estimate where that point of intersection is and where that point of intersection is, so where it's crossing the x-axis. So it's going up in ones, and I can see it's between 2 and 3, so I'm going to estimate it as 2.5. And the other one is between 9 and 10, so I'll estimate it as 9.5. Question 10. Shape A is a circle with radius root 17 over 2 centimeters, that's this circle, and shape B is a sector of a circle, so it's part of a circle, with radius 5 centimeters. Which shape has the greater area, A or B? So we need to know the formulas for area of a circle and area of a sector of a circle. So area of a circle, cherry pie delicious and apple pies are 2, so pi r squared. And for area of a sector, it's going to be theta, the angle, divided by 360 multiplied by pi r squared. So it's just the proportion of the circle multiplied by the formula for area of the circle. So let's just work both of these out now. So we'll do area of A first, which is pi multiplied by the radius squared, and the radius is root 17 over 2, and that's in brackets squared. We need to simplify this. Let's expand this bracket out first on the side. So I've got root 17 over 2, and because it's squared, it's being multiplied by root 17 over 2. Root 17 times root 17 will give me 17, and 2 times 2 is 4, and multiplying it by pi gives 17 over 4 pi. Let's do area of B now. So we need the angle over 360, which is 60 over 360, multiplied by pi r squared, and here the radius is 5, so 5 squared. I know 60 over 360 will cancel down to give me 1/6. I just divide both of these by 6, multiplied by 25 pi. That simplifies to 25 over 6 pi. All we need to do now is compare these two areas. So we've got 17 over 4 pi and 25 over 6 pi. I think to make this easier, I'll convert them to mixed numbers. So that would become, how many 4s go into 17? That's 4, 1 remaining, and that would be over 4 pi. This one is the same as how many 6s in 25? That's 4, 1 remaining, that's over 6 pi. So we've got 4, 4, and we've got 1/4 and 1/6. And I know 1/6 is smaller than 1/4 because it's split up into less parts. So this is the smaller one, that'll be the greater one. The greater one is A. So A is greater because 4 and 1/4 pi is greater than the 4 and 1/6 pi. Question 11. Factorize x squared plus 2x minus 24. Because the highest power is a 2, this is a quadratic, that means we're going to need double brackets here. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to make negative 24, and they need to add up to make this positive 2. To do this a little bit easier, we're going to list out our factor pairs of 24, so that'd be 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6, and I think it's going to be this 4 and 6. One of them is going to be a negative because we're multiplying to become a negative, so the signs are going to be mixed. We just need to figure out which way around it'll be. I think it's going to be x plus 6 and minus 4. 6 take away 4 gives 2, 6 times negative 4 gives negative 24. So in the first bracket we have x plus 6, and in the second bracket we have x minus 4. You could have it either way. Question 12. Write 2 times 10 to the power of 3 as an ordinary number. 10 to the power of 3 is the same as 1,000, or you could think of it as 2 times 10 to the power of 1 is 20, times by 10 to the power of 2, times by 10 to the power of 3, so 2,000. Part B, simplify this ratio and give your answer in the form n to 1. So I can see both of these are in standard form. I think it'll be easier if I convert these into ordinary numbers and then simplify it. And I've already done 2 times 10 to the power of 3, which is 2,000. I need to do 5 times 10 to the negative 1. 10 to the negative 1 is 1/10, so I'm dividing this by 10. This is telling you how many zeros are going to be at the start because this is a negative. So it's 0.5. I just need to simplify this so that there's 1 on the right hand side. This one's quite easy. I just need to multiply this right hand side by 2, multiply that side by 2, so it's 4,000 to 1. Question 13. Here is an identity in x, and it's saying 5 brackets 2x plus d is equal to cx plus 30. We're trying to find the values of c and d. Let's just expand this bracket first and see what happens. 5 multiplied by 2x gives 10x, and 5 multiplied by d gives 5d, and that's equal to the cx plus 30. We're going to be equating coefficients now. See, the bit that relates to the x is this 10 and this c. That's telling me that 10 is equal to this c, so c is 10. Then we've got this 5d, which is going to be equal to this constant, this 30. So 5d is equal to 30, d is multiplied by 5, so we divide by 5, d is equal to 6. Question 14. Cora is revising for 2 subjects, history and French. The time she spends revising is in the ratio history to French equals 7 to 2. So history to French is 7 to 2. The time she spends revising for history is 20 more hours than for French. Work out the total time she spends revising. So we've been told this fact that the amount she's spending on history is 20 hours more than for French. So the difference in parts here will be equal to 20 hours. So 7 take away 2 is 5. So those 5 parts are going to be equal those 20 hours. Let's find out what one part is. So I divided by 5 here. I'm going to divide by 5 there. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So each part is worth 4 hours. We're trying to find the total time that she's spending. There's 7 and 2. So there's 9 parts altogether. We're multiplying by 9, multiply that by 9, so 4 times by 9 is 36 hours. Question 15. A race was run in 2019 and in 2020. The box plot shows information about the finish times in 2019. In 2019, what was the fastest time? Because we're looking for the fastest time, we're looking for the smallest time. In a race, you win by being quick. So this is between 15 and 20, and it's going up in 0.5, so that would be 17.5, and that would be at 16. Part B. The table shows information about the finishing times in 2020, and it's given us the lower quartile, the median, and the upper quartile. Use the data to comment on each of the following statements. On average, times were faster in 2019 than in 2020. I think because we've been given the information for 2020, let's just find the information for 2019 first, just to help us with our comparison. So the lower quartile for 2019 would be this value, which is at 20. The median is at 22.5. And the upper quartile is 25, that'd be 26. So we're asked, on average, how do these compare with each other? So if we're looking on average, we're looking at the median. I can see that 24 minutes is longer than 22.5 minutes. So the times in 2019 were faster. So I would agree as the median in 2019 was lower than 2020. Times were equally consistent in 2019 and 2020. So this is talking about the spread of the data, and the way we work that out is by finding the interquartile range. The interquartile range is just the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. Upper quartile is 27, lower quartile is 21, so 27 take away 21, which is 6. then for this one in 2019, 26 take away 20 is 6. So you can see both of them in both years, they had an interquartile range of 6. And that means times were equally consistent. As the interquartile range for both years was 6. Question 16. The Venn diagram shows information about 80 people who visited an online shop, and it says the total amount of people in the set is 80. One person is chosen at random. Work out the probability that they bought a hoodie. So we're trying to find this value of x. In the question, it told us that all of these people here will be equal to 80. So we can add 15 and 8, which is 23, and x plus 2x, which is 3x. We just need to solve this equation. So we're going to take away 23 from both sides. So we're left with 3x is equal to 80 take away 23, that'd be 57. Then we need to divide by 3, so x is equal to 19. So this value, I can swap it out for 19. 2 times by 19, which would be 38. We want the probability that they bought a hoodie, so that'd be everyone in this circle, 8 and 19, which is 27, out of the total amount of people, which is 80. Part B. One person who bought trainers is chosen at random. Work out the probability that they bought a hoodie. Because we're looking at a given at statement, we're going to find the people who bought trainers first. That'll be our denominator. The people who bought trainers, 15 and 8, is 23. We're looking for the people that brought a hoodie from those people. So the people that brought a hoodie from those is 8. Be 8 out of 23. Question 17. X and Y are integers. This just means whole numbers. You're counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Work out the largest possible value of Y. Let's solve this one first. To solve this one, I can divide both sides by 4. So 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 20 divided by 4, which is 5. So the values of x could be 2, 3, 4, and 5. For this one, we've got y minus 3x is less than 12. I'm going to rearrange this so I've got y on its own. So y, because I'm trying to get y on its own, I need to add 3x to both sides. So y is less than 3x plus 12. Because we're trying to find the maximum value of y, I'm going to use the largest value for my x. That could be 5. So I'm going to do y is less than 3 times by 5 plus 12. And y is less than 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 12, which is 27. So y is less than 27. The largest possible value it could be would be 1 less than that, which would be 26. Question 18. P and Q are points. So we've got P, we don't have Q yet. P at -3, -2, it's already been plotted on, is mapped to Q by a rotation about 1, 0 through 90 degrees clockwise. Q is mapped back to P by a single transformation. Complete these two single transformations that each map Q back to P. The rotation about 1, 0. So we need to do this first rotation about 1, 0, which is over here. And it's going to be 90 degrees clockwise, and it would end up here. The way I'd recommend doing this is you put your tracing paper, you'd cross out that, you'd put your pencil on this point, and then you'd rotate it 90 degrees, and it would end up here. We've done the first part, which is the rotation about 1, 0. We can say Q has been mapped to, that was -1, 4. For the translation, we're going to slide it left by 2 and down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So down by 6. Because it's left, it's -2, and because it's down, it's -6. So -2, -6. Part B. Point A at 7, 4 and the line y equals x are shown on the grid, and both of these are already on. B and C are points on the grid, each having positive integer coordinates. This is just saying that there's 2 more points somewhere here, and it'll be positive integers, so they will be in this quadrant. BAC is a right angle triangle, so we're going to be drawing a right angle triangle somewhere with A as one of our points and B and C as the other ones. When BAC is reflected in the line y equals x, side BC is invariant. This is just saying that when I reflect this right angle triangle, these 2 points will stay in the exact same place. That's telling me that this line will be on this line. It'll be on the line y equals x. Work out one possible set of coordinates for B and C. So I'm going to choose this one as one of them, and I'm going to choose that one, because if I draw a right angle triangle there and I reflect it, this line BC will stay in the same place. We just need to write what those coordinates are. So this B will be 4, 4, and C will be at 7, 7. Question 19. When converted to a fraction, 0.7 recurring is equal to 7/9. Work out 0.4 recurring and 0.07 recurring. So if you can spot this is very similar to this, you will know that 0.4 recurring is 4/9. If you don't spot it, what you can do is set x is equal to 0.4 recurring, and because there's one decimal that's repeating, I'm going to multiply it by 10, so 10x is equal to 4.4 recurring. If it was 2 decimals repeating, I'd multiply it by 100, 3 and multiply by 1000. I'm going to take these two away from each other, which leaves me with 10x take away x is 9x. These will cancel out, and I've got 4 take away 0, which is 4. Divide both sides by 9, x is equal to 4/9. Or you could just spot that it would be 4/9. So always try to use the information that they've given you to try and help you. Then I would definitely use this piece of information for this part. I've got 0.07 recurring, and I've been told that 0.7 recurring is same as 7/9. If I divide this by 10, I get 0.07 recurring. So I would need to do the same to that. How would I divide 7/9 by 10? I would just multiply my denominator by 10. So that would be the same as 7/90. So 0.07 recurring is the same as 7/90. Let's just add both of our answers. So we've got 4/9 plus 7/90. Multiply this one by 10 to get common denominators. So that will be 90 and 90. 4 times 10 is 40. 40 and 7 is 47/90. Can this be simplified? No, I don't think so. So it'd be 47/90. Question 20. X and y are acute angles. Sine of x is equal to √3/2. W is equal to 3x minus 2y. And tan of y is equal to 1. Work out the value of cos of w. Show you working. So I'm just going to ignore this one for now and concentrate on this sine of x and this tan of y. Let's first draw out the exact values for trig. So I'll draw a big square root and sine and cos. Sine because it's the origin, we start with that one. Because it's the origin, we start with 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We go back from 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. That's placed all over 2. And the angles that we're working with are 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90. So the first two and the last two go up by 30, and the rest go up by 15. We're looking for sine of x where it's √3/2. So sine √3/2 would be sine of 60. So x is equal to 60. Then for tan y is equal to 1. I know sine of theta over cos of theta is tan of theta, so I'm looking for where would this divided by this give me 1. So it's not going to be that, it's not going to be that, I think it'll be this one. So tan of 45 would be equal to 1, so that means y is equal to 45. W is equal to 3x minus 2y, so we're going to substitute those in. 3x is 3 times by 60. Minus 2y is minus 2 multiplied by 45. 3 times 60 is 180. Minus 2 times 45 is minus 90. 180 take away 90 is 90. So we're trying to find cos of w, and we know w is 90. So cos of 90. Cos of 90, we just read here, is 0, the √0/2. √0 is just 0, so the answer is 0. Question 21, we've got f of x, g of x, and h of x. Solve the inverse of f of x equals g of h of x. Let's first concentrate on making this the inverse of f of x. So I'm going to set this equal to y is equal to x minus 9/8. I'm trying to make this x on its own. So the first thing I need to do is remove this fraction by multiplying both sides by 8. So it's 8y is equal to x minus 9. Add 9 to both sides, so 8y plus 9 is equal to x. Last thing that we need to do is swap the y and the x around. So 8x plus 9 is equal to y. So this is my inverse of f of x. So I'll just rewrite it. The inverse f of x is equal to 8x plus 9. Next, I've got g of h of x. When I do these, I'm reading from right to left. Normally when you read in English, you read left to right, but with functions, you read right to left. So I'm going to put h into g. I can see h is equal to 4x. So wherever I see x here, I'm going to swap it with a 4x. So we're doing g of h of x is equal to 4x into here, so we've got 2 multiplied by 4x in bracket squared plus 9. What's 4x times by 4x? Just be careful here. A lot of people will just do 4x squared. 4 times 4 is 16, and x times x is x squared. So we've got 16x squared multiplied by 2, which is 32x squared plus 9. I know that this one is equal to this one, so let's equate those to each other. 8x plus 9 is equal to 32x squared plus 9. I've got plus 9s on both of them, so I'll cancel those out with each other. So I'm just left with, I'll move this minus 8x to the other side. So it's 32x squared minus 8x is equal to 0. I need to factorize this. What's the common factor of both of these? I can pull out 8 from 32 and 8. X squared and x, I can pull out x. Inside the bracket, I'm going to have 4x to get 32x squared, and I need minus 1 to get negative 8x is equal to 0. This is telling me that I've got two numbers that are multiplied by each other to give me 0. So either this is going to be equal to 0 or this is going to be equal to 0. So the first one, 8x is equal to 0. X is going to have to be 0 for that one. For this one, 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. Solving this quickly, I get x is equal to 1/4. So I have two answers, 0 or 1/4. Question 22. Here is a cyclic quadrilateral. Cyclic quadrilateral just means we have a shape that has four sides and it touches all the edges of the circle. A to B to C is in the ratio 9 to 5 to 3. Let's put those on. So A is worth 9 parts, B is worth 5 parts, and C is worth 3 parts. Work out the size of angle D. We're trying to find that one. Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral add up to make 180. So I know 3 parts plus 9 parts will be equal to 180. So I'll write it as 3x plus 9x is equal to 180. So 12x is equal to 180. Divide both of these by 12. So x here, I know 12 times 10 is 120 and 12 times 5 is 60. So it's going to be 15. I know what each part is worth. It's worth 15. I'm trying to find D, so I want the angle that's opposite to that one, which is this B. I'm doing 5 multiplied by 15 because each part is worth 15. 5 times 15 is 75. Both of these will add up to make 180. So I need to do 180, take away 75, which is 105. Question 23. Work out 7 over root 2 multiplied by root 3 over root 10. Give your answer in the form x root 15 over y, where x and y are integers. This is telling me that there's probably going to be some rationalizing involved in this question. Let's multiply out these first. 7 times root 3 is 7 root 3. Root 2 times root 10. 2 times 10 is 20, so it's root 20. Can I simplify this root 20? What are my square numbers? They're 1, 4, and 9. I think that'll be enough. So what's the largest square number that goes into 20? That will be the 4. So it's root 4, root 5. Root 4 is 2, root 5. So I've simplified this to 7 root 3 over that root 20 has now become 2 root 5. Because it wants the denominator as an integer, we need to remove this surd. So I need to rationalize the denominator. So I need to multiply the bottom by 2 root 5 and I multiply the top by 2 root 5. I'm basically multiplying it by 1. I'm not changing the fraction, but it's removing the surd for me. So 7 root 3 times 2 root 5. 7 times 2 is 14. Root 3 times root 5 is root 15. And that's good because we've got that root 15 there. 2 times 2 is 4. And root 5 times root 5 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So we've got 14 root 15 over 20. We can simplify this bit. If I have 14 over 20, that would simplify to make 7 over 10. This is just 7 root 15 over 10. Question 24. Line A is perpendicular to line B. The gradient of line A is negative 2. Work out the gradient of line B. So the gradient of this is negative 2 and we want something that is perpendicular. If I'm trying to find the gradient of a line that's perpendicular, I'm looking for the inverse reciprocal. What does that mean? The inverse of negative will be positive, so I need a positive number. And the reciprocal of 2, if I wrote 2 as a fraction, it'd be 2 over 1. The reciprocal just means I need to flip that over. So it would become positive 1/2. Question 25. The nth term of a geometric progression. Geometric just means that it's being multiplied by the same thing every time. Is r to the power of n, where r is more than 0. The second term is 8 over 9. So when I substitute 2 into this, I get 8 over 9. So we should write that down. R squared is equal to 8 over 9. Work out the third term. Give your answer in the form c root 2 over d, where c and d are integers. Let's first work out what the first term would be. If I substitute 2 in, I get 8 over 9. How could I find r to the power of 1? I need to find the square root of this. So the square root of 8 over 9 is root 8 over root 9, and root 9 is the same as 3. I can simplify this root 8. Root 8 is the same as root 4 root 2, which is the same as 2 root 2. So r to the power of 1 is the same as 2 root 2 over 3. Now all we need to do, because we know what we're multiplying by every single time, we're multiplying by 2 root 2 over 3, we can find what r to the power of 3 is. We're doing 8 over 9, which is r squared, multiplied by 2 root 2 over 3. 8 times 2 is 16, 16 root 2, 9 times 3 is 27. This can't be cancelled, so I leave it like that. That's my final answer. 26. Work out the value of 5 and 1/16 to the power of 1/4. What does this power of 1/4 mean? It means I need to find the fourth root and raise it to the power of 1. But when I raise anything to the power of 1, it doesn't change it. So I just need to find the fourth root here. It's a little bit tricky to do it with a mixed number, so I'm going to change it to an improper fraction. I know 5 times 16 is 80. 80 and 1 is 81. That's 81 over 16. So I'm looking for a number that multiplies by itself 4 times. So x times by x times by x times by x would be equal to 81. So it's going to be a very small number. I know that this one will be 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 will be 81. So normally with these questions, the answers will be smaller than 5. For the fourth root of 16, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 would give me 16. So it'd be 3 over 2. Part B, 49 to the power of m to the power of 2.5. We want it as a power of 7 in terms of m. So we need to change this base to a base of 7. How could I rewrite this 49 with a base of 7? That'd be 7 squared. So now I've got 7 squared to the power of m, and a power to a power, you multiply them together. So it's 2m, and on the outside is 2.5. So it's a power to a power again. 2 times by 2.5 is 5, and that'd be 5m. So 7 to the power of 5m. Question 27. Write down the solution of x squared is less than 16. Let's just draw the graph of this x squared is less than 16 out. If I square root this 16, I get positive 4 and I get negative 4. I'm looking for where the line is below, so it's going to be between all of those values. It's when x is greater than negative 4 and when it's smaller than 4. Question 28. PQRS is a quadrilateral. PQ is not parallel to SR. So PQ is not parallel to that. X is a point on QR. That's already on. Q to X to R is in the ratio 2 to 3. So Q to X to R is 2 to 3. So altogether there are 5 parts. So Q to X will be 2/5 of that line, and X to R will be 3/5 of that line. Q to X is equal to 2a plus 4b, and that's already on. So whenever you do these questions, always make sure you're making notes as you're going through. Prove that PQRS is a trapezium. What do you know about trapezia? A trapezium is just a 4-sided shape, so it's a quadrilateral, and it has one pair of parallel sides. So they've told us something very important. It says PQ is not parallel to SR, so this line is not parallel to that line. That means PS will need to be parallel to QR. That's how we're going to try and prove this. We need to find the vector of PS and we need to find the vector of QR and show that they are parallel to each other, and that'll prove that it's a trapezium. How could we get the vector of QR first? I think that one would be easier. Because I know QX is only 2/5 of the line, I want to find what this 3/5 of the line is. So I'm going to divide by 2 and then multiply by 3. So 2a plus 4b divided by 2 and then multiplied by 3. So that will leave me with a plus 2b multiplied by 3. So 3a plus 6b. This part of the line is 3a plus 6b. Now I can find what Q to R is. Q to R, I've got 2a plus 4b plus 3a plus 6b. Combine the a's up together, I get 5a, so those done. 4b plus 6b is 10b. So now I've found QR, I need to find what PS is. So I can't go directly from P to S, I'm going to have to go all the way around. So I'm going P to Q first. So PS is P to Q first, and we're going backwards, so it's going to be minus 5a. And we've already worked out what QR is. We'll just use this answer. It's 5a plus 10b. And then from R to S is plus a minus 8b. Plus a minus 8b. Let's simplify this. I've got minus 5a plus 5a. That'll cancel. 10b minus 8b, which is 2b plus a. Now I need to prove that they're parallel to each other. Could I factorize this first one? What's the common factor of 5 and 10? It's 5. Inside the bracket is going to be a plus 5 times 2 gives me 10. So 2b. This one is very similar to that. You can see 2b plus a and 2b plus a. Because QR is 5 lots of the vector PS, that means that they're parallel to each other. So the final line is QR is a multiple of PS, therefore they are parallel, and PQRS is a trapezium. Question 29. Here are the equations of 3 graphs: y equals sine of x, y equals cos of x, and y equals tan of x. Let's just draw these graphs out first before we start this question. So y equals sine of x. Because it's sine, it's going through the origin. It'll go through 180 and it'll go through 360. So that's -1, that's 1, that's 180, and 360. Next we'll do y equals cos of x. So -1 and 1. This time it's been shifted left 90 degrees. So we'll start here. It'll go down. The minimum is at 180 and it will reach 1 again back at 360. 360 and 180. For the last one, y equals tan x. Just need to know 2 things. It's going to tend towards infinity at 90 and 270. And it looks something like this. Which statement is true? Y equals sine x passes through 180 -1. So it's testing which of these passes through 180 -1. If I look at -1, does it go through 180 -1? For that one, it doesn't. For this one, at -1, it does go through 180. So this one, it would be y equals cos x. Part B, which statement is true? Y equals sine x passes through 271. So we're looking for 270 degrees and 1. So 270 is over here. Does it go through 1 there? No. 270 is there. Does it go through 1? No. 270 is there. Would it go through 1? So the answer for this one would be none of these graphs. That's the end of the questions for today. I recommend you go through all of the questions and write down the topics that you struggle with before you attempt another past paper. Feel free to check out my channel for other past paper walkthroughs, including the ones from this year's set. I'll see you soon.